story that comes to mind with materialism. I work in finance. I work with a company, a great company in Chicago called Performance Trust. I've got my Series 7 and Series 6 and 63. I'm a financial professional, but I also have my law degree. So that gives me permission to make fun of lawyers, since I have my law degree. But the materialism side reminds me of a lawyer who had a big case he was working on, working really hard, and settled for millions of dollars. Was so excited about it. Went out on a shopping spree, went out and bought this Porsche, beautiful Porsche, black, shiny, gorgeous. Everything about it was great. He was so proud of that Porsche. And first thing he did was drove over to his law firm to show it off to his partners, to show off the wonderful things that he got. Pulls right in front of the law firm, opens the door. As he opens the door, a dump truck goes whizzing by, sideswipes the car, rips off the door of his brand new Porsche, keeps going on down the road. The lawyer's shocked. Couldn't believe what just happened. Hops out of the car, looks at this beautiful Porsche. It's ripped up, the door's ripped off, the side's all torn up. Grabs his cell phone, calls the police. The policeman comes out. You got to throw this guy in jail. Throw this dump truck guy in jail. Look what he did to my car. The policeman just looks at the man and just shakes his head. He says, "You were so concerned about your Porsche, you didn't even realize that as that dump truck went by, it ripped off your left arm." The lawyer looks down at his left arm and sees it's gone. My Rolex. Where's my Rolex? We lose perspective on what's important, and I'm excited as a Christian that I have infinite value, not because of what I do, not because of what I have, not because of who I know, but whose I am, and who made me, who created me, that I am created in God's image. The Scripture says that very clearly. Our founding fathers knew that very clearly, and that same God who created me also died to redeem me, and that these dozens of worldviews that seek to answer these questions really miss the point. But we need to get back once again to see that life is valuable, not because of what I can do or how much I can get, but because of whose I am. So I want to switch gears a little bit. I think it is important to address how we view the world and the character that helps determine what's important to us. But we also need to find out, how does this impact us? What do we do with it? Where do we go from here? One thing definitely we can't do is just sit here. And when it comes to politics, when we realize that our life has value, all life has value, and there's really an attack on morality and what's important, and people around us are just seeking to try and line their own pockets, what we can't do is just sit there. I want to tell you a story that I heard a while ago that it's important not just to sit there. We got to take action, but we got to make sure it's the right action. Oftentimes we act and we don't have the right direction. So I want to talk about a guy named Larry Walters. The quote was, this was in AP, "I have fulfilled my 20-year dream," said Larry Walters, a former truck driver. "I'm staying on the ground. I've proved the thing works." Larry's boyhood dream was to fly, but fates conspired to keep him from his dream. He joined the Air Force, but his poor eyesight disqualified him from the job of pilot. After he was discharged from the military, he sat in his backyard watching jets fly overhead. He hatched the weather balloon scheme while sitting outside in his extremely comfortable Sears lawn chair. He purchased 45 weather balloons at an Army-Navy surplus store, tied them to his tethered lawn chair, fired the Inspiration 1, and filled the 4-foot diameter balloons with helium. Then, armed with some sandwiches, Miller Lite, and a pellet gun, he strapped himself into his lawn chair. He figured he would shoot and pop a few of the many balloons when it was time to descend. Larry planned to sever the anchor and lazily float to a height of about 30 feet above his backyard, where he would enjoy a few hours of flight before coming back down. But things didn't quite work out as Larry had planned. When his friends cut the cord anchoring the lawn chair to his Jeep, first of all, some friends, these guys, cutting the cord. I think these are some of my friends. No, just kidding. But they severed the cord anchoring the lawn chair to his Jeep. He did not float lazily up 30 feet. Instead, he streaked into the LA sky as if shot from a cannon, pulled by the lift of 45 helium balloons holding 33 cubic feet of helium each. He didn't level off at 100 feet, nor did he level off at 1,000 feet. After climbing and climbing, he leveled off at 16,000 feet. At that, in his Sears lawn chair. At that height, he felt he couldn't risk shooting any of the balloons, lest he unbalanced the load and really find himself in trouble. So he stayed there, drifting, cold and frightened, with his beer and sandwiches for more than 14 hours. He crossed the primary approach corridor of LAX were startled Transworld Airlines, this was a few years ago, and Delta Airlines pilots radioed in reports of the strange sight. Eventually, he did gather the nerve to shoot a few balloons and slowly descended. The hanging tethers tangled and caught in power lines, blacking out a Long Beach neighborhood for 20 minutes. Larry climbed to safety, where he was arrested by waiting members of the LAPD. As he was led away in handcuffs, a reporter dispatched to cover the daring rescue asked him why he had done it. Larry replied nonchalantly, "A man can't just sit around. A man can't just sit around." The Federal Aviation Administration was not amused. Safety Inspector Neil Savoy said, "We know he broke some part of the Federal Aviation Act. As soon as we decide which part it is, a charge will be filed."